America, the land of opportunity, a beacon of economic prosperity, where we are often told that hard work leads to success. Yet millions of Americans working full-time jobs find themselves struggling to make ends meet. They are caught in a paradox, a nation of immense wealth where many hard-working individuals can't afford basic necessities. This isn't just a tale of laziness or poor choices, but rather it's a story of systemic issues that have eroded the value of labor and left many trapped in a cycle of financial instability. The American dream, once a promise of upward mobility, now feels like a distant myth for many. The traditional equation of hard work equals success has been disrupted. Stagnant wages, rising living costs, and widening inequality have created a harsh reality for many full-time workers. They are the backbone of our economy, yet they are struggling to keep their heads above water. This essay explores the factors behind this economic paradox. For decades, American workers have faced a disheartening reality. Wages have not kept pace with productivity. While the economy has grown, the fruits of that growth have not been shared equitably. Workers are producing more, but they are not seeing a corresponding increase in their paychecks. This stagnation in wages has profound consequences for working families. The federal minimum wage, a benchmark for low-wage earners, has remained at $7.25 per hour since 2009. This stagnant minimum wage has lost significant purchasing power over the years due to inflation. It no longer provides a livable wage in most parts of the country. Many full-time workers earning minimum wage find themselves struggling to afford basic necessities like food, housing, and healthcare. The consequences of stagnant wages are far-reaching. Families are forced to make difficult choices between paying rent and putting food on the table. Workers are taking on multiple jobs to make ends meet, sacrificing their time and well-being. The lack of wage growth undermines the very foundation of a stable and prosperous society. It creates a cycle of financial insecurity that can be difficult to break free from. The cost of living in America has been steadily rising for years. Housing costs have skyrocketed in many cities, making it increasingly difficult for families to afford a decent place to live. Healthcare expenses continue to climb, placing a heavy burden on individuals and families. Education costs have also risen dramatically, making it more challenging for students to pursue higher education and improve their economic prospects. The rising cost of housing is particularly acute. In many urban areas, rent consumes a significant portion of a worker's income, leaving little left for other essential needs. The lack of affordable housing options forces many families to live in overcrowded conditions or in neighborhoods far from their jobs, increasing transportation costs and reducing their quality of life. Healthcare costs continue to be a major source of financial stress for American families. Even those with employer-sponsored health insurance often face high deductibles and co-pays, making it difficult to afford necessary medical care. The high cost of prescription drugs adds to the burden, forcing some individuals to choose between their health and their financial well-being. The gap between the rich and poor in America has been widening for decades. The wealthiest 1% of Americans now hold a disproportionate share of the nation's wealth, while the bottom 50% struggle to make ends meet. This growing economic inequality has profound implications for our society, undermining social mobility, eroding trust in institutions, and fueling political polarization. The concentration of wealth at the top has given rise to a new class of super-rich, whose fortunes have grown exponentially while wages for most workers have stagnated. This concentration of wealth has a distorting effect on the economy, as the wealthy have outsized influence on political decisions and economic policies that benefit their interests. The consequences of widening inequality are far-reaching. It undermines social mobility, making it harder for people to climb the economic ladder. It erodes trust in institutions, as people perceive the system as rigged against them. It fuels political polarization, as economic anxieties and frustrations find expression in divisive political rhetoric. America's social safety net, designed to provide a cushion for those facing economic hardship, has become increasingly frayed. Unemployment benefits, once a reliable source of support for those who lost their jobs, have become less generous and harder to access. Welfare programs have been scaled back, making it more difficult for families to meet their basic needs. The erosion of the safety net has left many Americans vulnerable to economic shocks, with little support to fall back on. The decline in unemployment benefits has left many workers struggling to make ends meet after losing their jobs. The duration of benefits has been shortened, and eligibility requirements have become stricter, making it harder for those who need assistance to qualify. The inadequacy of unemployment benefits forces many families to deplete their savings, accumulate debt, or even face homelessness. Welfare programs designed to provide a safety net for low-income families have also been cut back. The Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program, for example, has seen its funding decline in real terms, making it more difficult for families to access the support they need. The erosion of welfare programs has left many families struggling to afford basic necessities like food, housing, and healthcare. The financial struggles of full-time workers in America are a symptom of deep-seated systemic problems. Addressing these problems requires comprehensive policy reforms that prioritize the well-being of all Americans. We need to address wage stagnation by raising the minimum wage, strengthening collective bargaining rights, and promoting policies that encourage wage growth. We need to tackle the rising cost of living by investing in affordable housing, expanding access to affordable healthcare, and making college more affordable. We must also address the widening gap between the rich and poor by implementing progressive tax policies that require the wealthiest Americans to pay their fair share. We need to strengthen the social safety net by expanding unemployment benefits, increasing funding for welfare programs, and creating a more robust system of support for those facing economic hardship. This is not just about economics, it's about justice and fairness. It's about ensuring that every American has the opportunity to live a decent life, regardless of their job or their income. It's about creating a society where hard work is rewarded, where everyone has a chance to succeed, and where no one is left behind. The time for change is now. We cannot continue to ignore the plight of millions of Americans who are struggling to make ends meet despite working full-time jobs. We must act now to create a more just and equitable society for all. Thank you for watching. May what we do today brings us a better tomorrow. For more interesting content, please visit ardells.com, where variety meets in one place.